Hi folks, I'm Dr. Joseph Reed, and in this video I want to talk with you about how you can work with an employee who's got a recurring performance problem. Now if you're a manager, you've probably already come to realize that employee performance problems come in a lot of different flavors and a lot of different sizes. The handy dandy little tool I'm going to offer you in this very brief video is really intended for a very specific type of performance issue. A recurring performance problem that exists because of a commitment issue. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that the employee has the ability, they have the competence to be able to solve the problem, but for one reason or another, they don't seem to be particularly motivated to solve the problem. So this is a great tool to use if somebody is tardy on a regular basis. This is a great tool to use if somebody submits their reports late. It's not a great tool to use if the employee doesn't have currently the competence, the knowledge, the skill to be able to solve the problem. So putting John in the cockpit of a 737 and then using this tool is not going to get the plane off the ground. So it's for a commitment issue. The name of this little handy dandy tool is a tactful confrontation. And it has 5 steps. So let me go through the 5 steps pretty quickly, and I'll try to give an illustration or demonstration of what you might say at each step along the way. Step number 1, very simple. Describe the behavior that's a problem. John, you were late today for the 3rd time this month. Okay, now did you notice when I described that behavior, I didn't editorialize. I didn't talk about what I thought their motives were or their intentions. I didn't tell John that I thought he had a bad attitude. I simply described the behavior. John, you were late today for the 3rd time this month. Once I've described the behavior, I'm going to move immediately into step 2. I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to wait for them to talk. Now this is where it often goes off track. If you're like me, when you've had a couple of conversations about an issue already, you're probably starting to feel a bit frustrated that the other person hasn't gotten the message and hasn't changed their behavior. Don't give in to that frustration. That's one of the reasons I really like this tool. It helps me to manage my own emotions. In step 2, we want to wait for the employee to talk. We're going to let them say whatever it is that they want to say. Most of the time, it's probably going to be an apology or an excuse. Just let them talk. Now, if they legitimately come up with something that is new and pertinent and relevant, you may have to call a timeout on the tactful confrontation, and you may have to explore that new piece of information. 9 times out of 10, that's not going to happen. So just let them talk. Don't get engaged in the process, just like water flows under the bridge when they finally finish talking. Move immediately into step 3. Step 3 is for you to assert the expectation. So what is it that you want them to do? John, I need you here on time by 9 a.m. every day without fail. Put it out there adult to adult. Try to take the judgmental tone out of your voice. Try to take the frustration out of your voice. Simply describe what you expect from them moving forward. And then immediately move into step 4. Now step 4, hopefully, is where all the magic happens. Step 4 is to ask them for a specific solution to the problem. John, what are you going to do differently from this point on to make sure that you're here by 9 a.m. every day? Now, when I ask that question, what I'm probably going to get is a non-specific answer. I'm probably going to get either another apology or a promise. I know, it won't happen again. I am so sorry. Don't get sucked into accepting that non-specific answer. We need them to come up with a tangible, concrete game plan. So when they give you that promise, just re-cue with the question again about what they're going to do differently. John, I'm really glad that you're committed to making the changes. Specifically, what are you going to do differently moving forward to make sure that you're here by 9 a.m. every morning? You may have to ask that question 2 or 3 times. Generally, by the 3rd time you've re-cued, they've gotten the message that you want something tangible. And they'll start trying to come up with a viable game plan for you. Now, as they do, there are 2 key skills you need to bring into play. You need to ask clarifying questions, and you need to reflectively listen, to let them know you're engaged in the process and to help them think through their solution. Now, this step of asking for a specific solution is really the key to making this work, because this puts all of the responsibility on them for coming up with a viable game plan for moving forward. And if they come up with it, they're much more likely to implement it with commitment. It may take a while. It may not happen in a moment. But as you ask those clarifying questions and as you reflectively listen, they'll refine their ideas. And by the end of this, they're going to come up with a plan that you can agree to. And that's step 5. Agree to their specific solution. Now, this is not a Jedi mind control trick that simply by going through these 5 steps, you're going to get them to do whatever you want them to do. They may not follow through on this, but you have a much better chance of them following through on this than if you prescribe a solution. You definitely don't want to bring your ideas into this. This is all about their plan. One of the things I really like about this 5-step process is that it's future focused. You can't change the past. Right? You can't get into Mr. Peabody's Wayback Machine and go a day and a half back and have them come in on time. All you can do is look at the future and come up with a game plan for how you're going to deal with it. This is a great tool for making that happen. 5-step tactful confrontation. Try it. Give it a shot. Practice it in the mirror first, and then use it on an employee who has a recurring performance problem. See how you like it. I think it has a lot of value. I want to thank you for watching this video, and if you'd like more information about management, or about leadership, or about influence, or about working with other people, please check out my website, drjosephreed.com. Thanks again.